Hey there, folks. In just a moment, I know it's hard to believe, I have as my guest, Mike Lindell. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got some news. I think most people, I'm not going to spoil it. He's got some news, some big news, big crazy news, fun news, exciting news. So in a couple seconds, my friend Mike Lindell will be on here. I'm okay. I'm dying to tell you, but I'm gonna make you wait for a minute and a half to hear directly from Mike Lindell. I want to remind you before that we have a new sponsor on the program. It's called Genesis Gold. I want to ask you personally to do me a favor and go to MetaxasGoldIRA.com. If you go to MetaxasGoldIRA.com, you can click on the link to get a free gold guide. If you want gold, if you're interested in gold, they are the folks to go with, right? We've had a lot of options of who we are going to sponsor. We're going to allow to sponsor us. We picked them for many reasons, Genesis Gold. So go to MetaxasGoldIRA.com. Please click on the thing for a free gold guide. You'll see. But they're a new sponsor, and we want to encourage you to go there, MetaxasGoldIRA.com. And before we get to Mike Lindell and his exciting announcement, which is 100% true, wait till you hear it. I want to remind you, every year at this time, we do a thing with CSI, Christian Solidarity International. They are freeing slaves in Sudan. We've said a lot about that. All I will tell you is I can't think of a better gift you could give to somebody than to say, we have freed a slave in your name. This is real. This is not metaphorical. This is real. CSI has been doing this for years. We've been partnering with them for years. It is real. You have to go to ericmetaxas.com. You'll see the banner. It will come up. You click on the banner and all the information is there. You can give a little bit a month if you prefer, or if you want to give once as a Christmas gift. It's a great opportunity. I just cannot think of a better Christmas gift to get somebody than to say to them, we have done this. We have freed a slave in your name because we're living out our faith and this is real. So that's ericmetaxas.com is my website. Please go there and check that out. There's a phone number, 888-253-3522, 888-253-3522, 888-253-3522. It's exciting. And again, MetaxasGoldIRA.com. That's a new sponsor on this program. We'll be right back. Wait till you hear what Mike Lindell is up to. Stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, I warned you. Yeah, I warned you. You want the crazy? I bring the crazy. I talk about all the stuff. Well, it's not crazy. It's true. But the mainstream media, Fox News, they consider this kind of stuff crazy. For example, that the 2020 election was stolen. I knew when it happened that it was stolen, or at least it seemed obvious that something fishy was going on. And then if you needed proof, everybody told you, oh, you can't talk about that. I thought, well, in America, when you tell me I can't talk about something, it seems to me like you're probably hiding something. So, we're gonna have a full audit. So here we are 5 years later, and it seems like it's all coming out. And who's been at the forefront of asking the questions and digging into it is our friend, Mike Lindell. And it's my privilege to have him with us today. Mike, welcome back.
Well, thanks, Eric. And you're exactly right. The president just said it a few days ago, all the stuff that we had back then, and it's going to be pouring out. He just said it, I think 2 days ago. You wait to see what's coming.
Well, there's a lot of headlines here. I want to talk to you, but sometimes there's too many headlines.
Right.
You, sir, are running for governor in Minnesota. Did I make that up? Did I read that in the Inquirer? Is this true?
It is 100% true. I announced on Thursday, everybody, you can check it out, MikeLindellGov.com. Check it out. I gave the speech. I was actually I lost my voice, but I got through it. And then we had the big governor's convention here. I forget what it is, where all the candidates were there, and I had to speak on Saturday. And 2 days into the campaign, I was in the top three. And that's with doing nothing. These guys have been campaigning for 4 or 5 months. So I'm very excited. I plan on winning. Minnesota needs, as everyone knows, Minnesota is the tip of the spear right now. The fraud and the stuff that's coming down. It's just, the doors
Mike,
are opening up. It's amazing.
Listen, I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff. Obviously, I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about the election thing, but because the bombshell that President Trump came up with on the stolen 2020 election, I really want to talk to you about that. But before that, since you've mentioned that you're running for governor,
Yep.
the obvious questions that most people would have, myself included, would include the fact that Minnesota is such a blue state that on the surface of it, it would seem that it would be extremely difficult for someone like you to get elected. What do you say to that?
I say it's just the opposite. This is the perfect time in history. Okay. We've been blue since 1972, but we do know in the 2016 election and the 2020 election, probably even 2024, Minnesota was what would have went to Donald Trump if you took out the election crime. This is something that we do know, but all that aside, let's put that aside. You have so much now, like it was 4%, even with the election fraud in 2024. Donald Trump lost by 4%. Now, in the midterms, let's just talk about the midterms. In the 2022 midterms, 140,000 people that voted for Donald Trump did not vote in the 2022 midterms. Okay.
Wait a minute. Say that one more time.
140,000 people that voted for Donald Trump in 2020 did not bother to vote in the 2022 election. So now think of this. In 2024, those people came back and voted for Donald Trump again. But now I have to get them, and I will get them engaged. I know who they are. If I have to knock on every door, Eric, I will get them. They will get out and vote. This is midterm, and myself as governor, the most important election Minnesota will ever have. This is it. It's critical.
Sorry, go ahead.
I also, the inner city, the vote, the Democrat vote and the independent. I believe, Eric, that I have access to that more than anyone. You know, the stuff that I've done where I went into the inner cities. When I came out of addiction, I have all kinds of plans to help, what can help the inner city, can help the box stores, the empty buildings downtown, addiction, you name it. I've got the plan to cover that. And I'm telling you that the biggest problem with to pull just like we did in Chicago when I went there for the Democrat convention, me and the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, we went downtown and we questioned people, the blacks and the Hispanics, here legally, of course. Why are you voting for Donald Trump? And they said, a lot of them didn't even like him. But the number one reason was the illegals are taking all of our resources, including help with addiction, the medical facilities, you name it, not just anything that they needed. And here in Minneapolis, and Minnesota, it's even more pronounced. Not only are these programs, all the fraud where they stole it all, but the people that it was allocated for did not get it. So these things, with the programs I would put in immediately, I think we could pull those votes, Democrats, independents, bring them all together. And you have, and then of course you have our governor. We don't even know if Waltz will be here with all the crime that's been going on and how much was he involved.
I want to say that, there's certain things you can't say enough, and people don't say this much at all. So I'll say it. It's been my discernment, let's say, over the last 5 years, that the number one problem in America, and there's a lot of candidates for number one problem in America, but the perception problem. In other words, the mainstream media and the left have created an illusion, a lie, that we're a divided country, right, and that half the country is with them, that they represent half the country. And we realize that most of this is fraudulent. In other words, most average Americans do not side with the radical left. And when we say radical left, on the transgender issue, on open borders, on everything, most average Americans would not side with them. But they have had a monopoly in the mainstream media. They have created a culture of tremendous corruption So taking taxpayer dollars to prop up their Potemkin villages everywhere to fool us into thinking that tons of people agree with them and whatever. Voter fraud is yet another example of that. We say, well, Minnesota's a very blue, and you're telling us, well, no, it's not. And if we knew the actual numbers, I mean, let's start there, Mike. If we just knew what are the legitimate votes, let's say in a place like California, what would the numbers be in California if no illegals had voted and there was no cheating? What would the numbers be? Well, maybe Trump would have lost, but would it be by 1%? It wouldn't.
Interesting you asked me that, Eric, because we do know those numbers. And how do I know those numbers? Because in the 2022 election, when DeSantis won in Florida, we had checked, my cyber guy, we had checked all over Florida. And remember, he won Miami-Dade County. And I questioned it. I said, I don't care if it's good or bad. If you got to question deviation. That was a deviation. Now, for some reason, there was no computer crime. Because remember, everybody, I got the cast vote records for the whole United States, or at least we got not the whole United States, we got about 1/3 of the 2022 election, but we were able to get all of Florida. And that was the one places we found where there was no computer manipulation. Okay. So if you took what we did, we went, wow, we finally have an example. What would this country be like if you had no computer manipulation? And, we don't know if there was how much other fraud there was, Eric. So there is that plus or minus. But we took that and extrapolated across the country. It's about 65% red. So this is what it means is if you take places that are everyone's going, oh, it's close 50. That's a lie. It's 65%.
Yeah.
So
well, no, you're corroborating what my instinct has been. It's that most they have used their power corruptly, obviously, to create a fake. The country's divided.
The illusion that the country's divided. That's not true. It's 60. And remember, that's 65% just based on that election. If that 2022 election and what happened in Florida, because it didn't make sense. And now, if you also take the illegals, think of this. Now you're taking the illegals away, and you're taking, and let's say take away like over 100 countries have banned mail-in voting and early voting. So if you get down to secure elections, I believe it's set like 70%, which means that, hey, we all want, good, joyful lives while we're here, but we all want the same thing. Nobody wants this transgender and all this garbage. That's a fringe craziness that the media is telling us, so they could take that 15%, Eric, and that 15%, and that's been getting bigger every year, and they need to do more and more ways to cheat and to convince us, to brainwash us that it could happen. Now, did Donald Trump win California with that taken out? I don't know. If I was to bet, I would say it might be close, but I can't say that definitively. But there's many places I can say, like Minnesota would be red. That I can tell you.
Hey there, folks. As hard as it may be for us to believe, especially if we're in America, there are people in other parts of the world who have literally been enslaved because of their faith in Jesus Christ. Some of them for decades. Hundreds of thousands of them have been persecuted and enslaved in the Sudan. Together, right now, we can literally buy their freedom and save the lives of some precious brothers and sisters, give them the joy and hope we celebrate so freely. For only $250, you can provide life-saving aid this Christmas. You can buy a believer's freedom and provide them with much-needed food, a goat, and other necessary goods for their survival. Brothers and sisters enslaved and fearing for their lives, just $250. Maybe you can give more. Maybe you can just give a portion of that. Every gift helps. Imagine buying the freedom of a fellow Christian believer. You can do it. Call 888-253-3522, 888-253-3522. Christian Solidarity International provides life-saving resources for persecuted Christians for almost 40 years, 888-253-3522, or go to ericmetaxas.com and click on the banner. You'll see it, ericmetaxas.com. Click on the banner. Please give someone the gift of getting their life back. Provide life and freedom for someone right now. God bless you. Well, again, what you're saying, which doesn't particularly surprise me, but we're laboring against a narrative that has so much money and power behind it that there are many people that they can't bear to take in what you've just said. They can't even bear to examine whether it's true because it can't be true. It just can't be true. But the fact is, it is almost certainly true, at least to some extent, probably to the whole extent, but even to some extent, that when you talk about the illegals, when you talk about, and Mike, you know this, the illegals, it's like they go to an old folks home and they take them by the hand on a bus and they tell them who to vote for. Nothing's left to chance. In other words, this is a huge operation. The Democratic Party has been very corrupt with regard to elections since forever. I mean, this is kind of what they do, and they have a very cynical view. They're not all about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They're about, we need to do what we need to do, and they do it. And I think that right now, obviously, there are a number of fronts in this war for election integrity. So I guess my question is, what is your sense of where the president is on this? What is being done? Because again, we believe that if we could at least have fair elections, my attitude is like, if in a fair election, Joe Biden were elected, I'm fine with that. In other words, as long as it's a fair election, I know Joe Biden is the greatest disaster we've ever had. But the point is, at least I know it was fair.
Right.
We know it wasn't fair. So my question is, what do you think is being done realistically? Because you know that more and more people, we've become very impatient. We're kind of waiting. You know, when President Trump says we have truckloads of information, suddenly I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at my watch. When is it going to come out? Who's going to go to jail? What's going on?
Right. Well, there's nobody more impatient than me. I've had to learn that from God that over these last 5 years. You look up patience, you don't see my picture. I've had to learn that. Okay, this is on God's timing, not ours. But I will tell you this. It is the president's, wait on it, number one priority. Okay. I talk to him quite often, as you know, but he's even said it about 3 weeks ago. It's his number one. Now, where are we at with all of it? Right now, the stuff, it's been, when I brought him everything we had for 4.5 years, that was last February, March or whatever, the things that have been going on now, when he said that this week, this will all be coming out. Huge things about the machine companies. The stuff came out about Smartmatic. And the problem is, here's the biggest thing, the stuff that's coming out and that has came out even in the last month, like Katina Peters stuff with Smartmatic in Venezuela. If Fox News, you're never going to have Fox News and Newsmax talking about this, everybody. This is really important to know. Will the rest of the media talk about it? The position we're in is we have big voices now with all the podcasters and all the social media sites, and not just Zuckerbuck's Facebook and Jack Dorsey's Twitter. We have Elon Musk with his mouth. When this stuff comes out, Eric, and it's coming out very soon, needs to be magnified to get everybody, all people, not just a mega, but all people going, hey, we want secure elections. We are okay with who wins. We want secure elections. And I will tell everybody, this is something you probably don't know. Just last week, I was let the president know. I said, hey, we made great strides on the ground. And I let him know that Dallas County, Texas, went to paper ballots, hand counted, no machines in this upcoming primary in February. You guys, this is one of the biggest counties in Texas, and this is going to set a prototype and a set of precedents for the rest of the country. Wow, it can be done in a big county. There was so much pushback, Eric, but the president came out with this truth, and it went through. This is just last week, but you don't hear about this. 5 counties in Texas, also paper ballots, hand counted. You guys don't confuse yourself with hand-marked paper ballots. Oh, yeah, we have them in ours. We have hand-marked paper ballots. Well, good for you, Special K. You got them counted by machines.
Right.
You got them counted
Well, that's what we have in New York. You fill it out, and then you take it over to the guy, and he puts it through the machine. So suddenly, what does it matter that it was filled out by your hand? Because now you have the question, what is the machine doing? This machine,
exactly right.
It's a gigantic computer. And it's hard for me to trust that, to take that
Well,
seriously.
132 countries have banned electronic voting machine, the last one being Argentina. We've developed, Eric, my teams have developed the best hand counting systems in the world. Remember, there's 300,000 people on the ground with the Cause of America, the teams they have across all 50 states.
What is that?
The Cause of America, it's all about the elections, you guys, all about they're working tirelessly every day in every county in this country. And from the ground up, we've been doing.
Wait, these are conservatives. These are people that love America.
Yeah, these are people that love America.
I haven't heard about this.
It's the Cause of America. I started it back in 2021. Everybody, and
Cause of America.
Cause of America. You guys, if you go to vocal.com, vocl.com, that's their social media site.
vocl.com.
Vocal.com, social media site, better than Facebook. Plus, you got the Cause of America there and the Election Crime Bureau. You guys everybody can stay involved so you see what's going on, the progress being made in every single county and state in the country. And it's so important that we have that level, plus the president working from the top down. Over 132 countries have banned electronic voting machine. We took their hand counting systems, Eric. I met with France, Germany, the Netherlands, Argentina, Taiwan. We took all best practices, put them together, and we have the best hand counting system the world has ever seen. They get done the same time as machines, actually earlier. You know how long sometimes it takes for voting machines to count, right? And with 100% or most of it 100% accuracy, I believe it's 100% because if there's something wrong, you just rewind the tape in an audit. It's a beautiful system. We've done it in many counties in the country already, even in the last election in 2024. And they were done the same time as machines, 100% accuracy. You just don't hear about it because the mainstream media, remember, is still not there. They don't. You talk about that and they're going, there's no problem. Nobody wants to believe the problem in our elections, but we as the people now, all people believe that that's the number one problem. And so does our president.
I'm sure that it is. It's, well, let me ask you, I want to just jump to, I was with you at Mar-a-Lago a few years ago, and you introduced me to your friend, Tina Peters.
Yep.
And I remember meeting her. And of course, now most people in America are aware of her. Can you talk about what's going on with her right now?
Yeah.
It's such a scandal that we're living in a country where this is possible.
She's an American hero, good friend, and she did her job. She by the way, she's a Gold Star mom, a grandma, 70 years old. And all she did was do her backup in the state of Colorado of her machines when they came in to illegally delete the whole 2020 election. Now, what happened was then when this judge illegally put her in prison and didn't let her put any of this evidence out, remember the copy's on LindellTV.com, by the way, what she took a copy of shows all the evidence you'd ever want to see for the 2020 election. It's all there. It's been posted on Lindell TV for 2 years. But anyway, she's put in prison. The president this spring, when I talked to him, and he was going to get her out I said the easiest way would be under the Federal Witness Protection Program. I thought you could just go right in there and take her out. And she's a federal witness against crooked Jenna Griswold, the Secretary of State, the crimes she committed against not just the state of Colorado, but federal crimes, because you have to hold the data for 22 months by federal law. The state of Colorado deleted them along with the Dominion.
Okay, why hasn't President Trump done that?
He has to. Okay, well, I'm getting to that. He tried. He was going to do that, but here's the problem. That's at the state level. This has been going on since last spring. At the state level, it should have been easy to do, and the state stopped it. The Governor Polis, this crooked governor that they have in Colorado, this is probably the tip of the spear of evil in politics. A political prisoner, what they've done to her. And you have the atrocities they've done to her is beyond belief. She's got part of one lung, or she's got lung problems. The stuff they've done is horrific to her. They don't want her alive. They want her. She's a witness. That's why she's never stopped. The judge said to her when he said, if you'd shut up about this stuff, I believe you're a threat to American democracy. You don't even get out pending your appeal. And because they know she's got once you see what we know, and once you see, you're not going to back down and say, oh, okay, I'll do it. I won't say anything bad about the election stuff. And anyway, the president then, now he just last week, it would take a long time to explain. All this has been going on every month. He reached out to Colorado to get their election records, and they basically said, we ain't giving you nothing. By the way, same thing Minnesota did in other states, telling the president, we're not giving you your federal election records they're supposed to keep for 22 months. Colorado's deleted everything they did 3 months after the election, or 5 months after. Now, what he just did, everybody, is he pardoned Tina Peters last week. So He did pardon her, everybody. Now, what's going to happen, I'll tell you next steps. The Peter Tinkton, you guys could look at it, it's Tinkton, Tina Peters, whatever, he had attorneys. Now he's taken that. He wrote a letter to the president, said, here's how we can do this. This will be a constitutional, it could set a precedent, actually, Eric, that the government, for the president of the United States to pardon someone at the state level, if you go back in our Constitution, they believe, and we believe, that he has the power to do that. But you've never had this problem before, because normally you don't have two divisions within our government where what state would ever say to the president, you override us, so go ahead, you can take, pardon this person. It's beyond belief what's been going on with those criminals in Colorado. So I believe that's going to come to a head too. Hopefully it doesn't drag out in court, but we're in a very, the times we're in. And by the way, the evidence that's coming out, it should be just like this, Eric, too. When this evidence comes out over the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping over the next couple of weeks, but let's say 2 to 4 weeks, as this evidence, the president said, pouring out, that also should be, hey, Tina Peters, you're 100% innocent. It's kind of like my cousin Vinny. In light of the new evidence, case dismissed. They should pour her out, give her the Patriot Award or whatever, and the president.
But Mike, I guess a part of the other question is, we're talking about a level of corruption so foul, and corruption is a nice word because we're talking about crimes. In other words, the Griswold in Colorado, these are crimes. Is there no way to prosecute these people, to hold them to account? These are crimes.
100%. She will go. These are the people, when I've been saying for 4.5 years, let's melt down the machines, turn them into prison bars. She would be number one. I would put her number one. I mean, she's and all the stuff going on in Minnesota. I mean, all these things, people say, why aren't these people getting prosecuted? Well, here's the deal. You're gathering evidence, and things. I believe that they're all going to get prosecuted, but for me, there's things that are higher than that, and that's, let's secure our elections. You got to secure our elections on parallel track here. We got to fix this like anything. Let's secure the elections, and then I get the paper ballots hand counted before these midterms as much as we can. Let's get Tina out of prison, get her, and then at the same time, all these people will get prosecuted. Like, I'll give you an example. Look at Elon Omar in my home state here, Minnesota. You guys, we've been telling everybody she married her brother for 5 years. We've been having problems with the Somalians and stuff for a long time.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Hey, we've if we're honest, we've all married our brothers at some point, folks. We're not judging, right. But the fact of the matter is, like, this is actually true. This is fraud.
It's true. It's
this is fraud.
Yeah.
And they're gaming the system because because most Americans are so nice that we're kind of like, well, come on in, and everybody's the same. These people are taking advantage, dramatically taking advantage of the suckers in this country. Hey there, folks. Okay, it's time to speak plainly. If ever there was a time for plain talk in America, I would say this is it. Every day I hear from people who say, Eric, something feels off. It's like there are these giant forces, global, financial, unaccountable, kind of pushing things around while hardworking Americans foot the bill. Am I crazy? Here's the problem. No, you're not crazy. You're not imagining it. It's true. Whenever there's instability, global tension, market chaos, currency issues, the big financial players always seem to land on their feet, while regular people are left wondering why groceries suddenly cost more than your first car. So the real question is, how do I protect the value of what I've worked for? How do I make sure that the global financial class, the folks who profit from disorder, don't get to toy with my savings? For thousands of years, the answer has been the same. Own something real, something they can't print, can't erase, can't manipulate. I'm talking about physical gold and silver, actual precious metals you can hold, touch, see. Not promises, not theories, not trust us. It's stable this week. And that's why I love what Genesis Gold Group is doing. These are faith-based, value-driven people who believe, as you and I do, that Americans deserve a way to anchor their wealth in something solid. They help you acquire physical gold and silver, real bars, real coins, real metals, not digital gold, not gold exposure, not gold that exists somewhere in theory. I mean the real thing. And let me tell you, in a world where currencies swing wildly, depending on what some global institution decides at 3 a.m., there is something wonderfully sane about holding something they cannot tamper with. Genesis Gold walks you through your options, explains everything in clear language, no jargon, no pressure, and delivers you metals of the highest purity from nationally recognized mints and refiners. This is old school value backed by real people with real integrity. Here's what I know. There are forces out there, they're not elected by you or me, that benefit whenever America is financially unstable. They benefit when the dollar weakens, when markets wobble, when chaos rises. But that does not mean that you and I have to sit quietly and watch our purchasing power disappear. You could take a meaningful step to protect yourself and your family by putting part of your wealth into something time-tested and real. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. They set up a website for us at the Eric Metaxas Show. Go to MetaxasGoldIRA.com. That's MetaxasGoldIRA.com, or click on the link we've provided. Ask your questions, learn what options you have, see how simple it is to own metals outright. Don't wait for the next global shock or the next headline designed to make you wonder if anything's stable anymore. Do something steady and sensible today. MetaxasGoldIRA.com. Thanks to our partners at Genesis Gold, get ready to own something the global financial elites cannot mess with. Go to MetaxasGoldIRA.com. And so what is your sense of what is going to happen with Tim Walz, with the fraud perpetrated by so many Somalis? What is your sense of where this goes now?
Well, I know where I think it's going to go. I think Ilhan Omar will be, I believe that she will be arrested. I believe Keith Ellison was in on it, the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, the one that's attacked my recovery network. I believe Walz either, I think about this, everybody. Walz is a governor. Either, if let's just say you knew, plausible deniability, you knew nothing, okay? Well, you know what? You are guilty of the biggest neglect of duty in history then. You're the worst governor that ever walked. If you actually let this go on and didn't bother and check. Well,
okay, but Mike, it's not a crime to be a crummy governor.
No,
we know.
I'm just saying that there's two things here. I believe he did commit, there hasn't come out yet, but I believe that he was in on it, or at least let it happen. Now, is that a crime for him allowing it to happen when he was warned by many whistleblowers have come forth to say, Walz knew about it, Walz knew about it, Walz knew about it, but to protect his little vote, he didn't do anything. So I don't know what's a crime.
Well, that would be a crime. I think that would be a crime.
I would think it would be. I think Ilhan Omar has definitely committed so many crimes. And
But Mike, we've been hearing for years, right? So I'm going to be the voice of the people here. We've all been hearing, oh, so-and-so should be arrested. So-and-so. No one has been arrested. I mean, you're probably friends with Pam Bondi.
Yep.
Is she up to this? What is going on? Everybody in America wants to know, why haven't we seen action?
This is why I guess patience. I know everybody's going, okay, do you want to go in? You've seen, I'll tell you what, I was surprised. I'll give an example. I just looked up because I'm running for governor myself. I looked up all the things that are going wrong with our education in Minnesota. And here Pam just served something 4 days ago. They just got served, I believe it was the teachers unions in Minnesota. So I'm going, wow, they're even working over here. I think there's so much, I think it's so horizontal, Eric, that beyond belief that, hey, do you have enough manpower? I don't know, you can start charging here, but I think there's so much here. You've got to do, that's what I'm saying. No, is
The
it
triage.
Yeah. I think that there's so much to do. I know people.
Listen, everybody, I mean, I shouldn't say everybody, but speaking for myself, I want to believe Pam Bondi's up for the job. She's the right person for the job. But at some point, you expect to see things. And so patience is good if ultimately it's rewarded.
She said
but I think there are a lot of people that kind of begin to wonder,
Right.
are they doing what they need to be doing?
I was speaking at the Museum of the Bible 3 weeks ago, and she came up and talked to me, and she said, Mike, she said, just people can be patient. She said, there's so much going on. It's so wide. And so, so I have to believe her. I'm praying that she can get it done. If not, ask for more help. I mean, if it's this big, there's no.
Well, this is the question: is President Trump? I believe he posted on Truth Social about a week ago, pushing Pam Bondi.
Yeah,
saying, "Come on."
Yeah.
Now, for the president of the United States to have to do that with his own attorney general, that's very strange to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that.
I don't either. I've been friends with Pam a long time, but I'm not in the midst of that. So what's going on there? But I can tell you this. The president. I mean, he knows we get one shot. Everybody, this is it. Right now, God's opening doors that no man can shut. They're just revealing all the crime and corruption, and that has to be opened up. For how deep does it go? I just think that how patient will he be? How patient will the people be? I know you're right. There's a lot of people out there going, how come nobody's getting charged yet? How come no one's getting charged?
Well, again, I have no problem waiting if in the end there are results. But I think the problem people have is they're wondering, should I be patient or should I be screaming more so that either Pam does her job or the president replaces her? We don't know the answer to that. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we don't know that, everybody. And I think we just got to trust our president's judgment.
That's correct.
That's what
that I do.
You've got to trust his. I've never met anybody in my life, and we've become very good friends, that has discernment like he does. You guys got to realize too, he's one of the things people don't know about our president. He will listen in a room and take stuff in. And it's like a gift from God of a problem solution. And he'll see what it's going to manifest to long before anyone will. And if something is going the wrong direction, he is, is there mistakes made? If there is, but like any businessman, he's the best at it that I've ever seen, where, hey, we've got to shift over here. I'm going to make a move so bold here. And to correct the path if it would start going down that path.
I want to say, listen, I don't think there's anybody who loves this president more than I do. I love this man, and I think he's a George Washington figure. He is. We are living in an existential crisis. I keep saying it's the third of our history. The first is the Revolution. The second is the Civil War, and he is leading us in this. I believe God has appointed him for such a time as this. And again, you have to say, it doesn't mean he's perfect, but I think that he is God's man. He has been chosen He's like a father of the country right now, and that most people get that. And so I always just think, like, if there's ever anything I can do to help him, because so many of us, we love this country. Yeah. We love this country, and we are so proud of this country and of this president. And so I think most of us are hopeful, but at times, we do have questions. What's going on?
You guys realize that there's no president that could be taking, imagine 30 races going on at the same time. He amazes me that, I'll bring him stuff or talk to him about stuff. I'm going, by the time I, got there, it's already been started or done. It's like, there's so many things going on. I mean, his day is just filled with.
Well, what is better? What is a greater gift from God to have Donald Trump not working day and night for the Trump organization, but working day and night for the United States of America? I'm a shareholder in the United States of America. He is working day and night.
It's amazing.
To bless us and, frankly, to bless the whole world, because the stronger, more powerful America is, the more the whole world will be blessed. I mean, that's the little secret people don't know. Hey there, folks. Quick word from today's sponsor. When you hear about rockets, drones, missiles, or a terror attack in Israel, somebody has to rush in after the sirens. That is Magen David Adom, Israel's National Emergency Medical Service, basically Israel's 911. They dispatch every ambulance in the country, take thousands of emergency calls every day, and they also collect, process, and distribute the nation's blood supply for civilians and the IDF. Since October 7th, Magen David Adom says they've lost 40 of their people, medical professionals, and 17 ambulances have been destroyed or disabled. And yes, sometimes medics and ambulances are intentionally targeted. But here's what's incredible. 90% of their 37,500 EMTs, paramedics, and first responders are volunteers. 90%. They keep showing up, yet they need the basics, bandages, blood reserves, medical supplies, ambulances, and training. If you have a heart for Israel, please give whatever you can. Every dollar matters. SavingLifeIsrael.org. I want to talk to you about running for governor, but before I do, I want to say to my audience, folks, Mike Lindell, MyPillow.com, MyStore.com, they are big sponsors of the Eric Metaxas Show. As you know, we've relaunched this podcast. We need your help. If you want to support this podcast, and we do need your help, would you please go to MyPillow.com. Do your Christmas shopping at MyPillow.com. You can buy most of my books at MyStore.com. If you use the code Eric, you get a gigantic discount. You can't get some of my books. I think, do I even have a copy? I don't normally prepare well for this, but I have a copy here of the Christmas, Uncle Muggsy and the Terrible Twins Christmas. Folks, the illustrator, my dear friend Tim Ragland, he's like one of the greatest illustrators in the history of the world. You can't do it justice on this camera here, but this book is so great, and you can get it at mystore.com. It's kind of like a Scrooge story, but I wrote it. Tim Ragland is the illustrator. You can get it at mystore.com with the code Eric. I don't know what the price is, but it is infinitely cheaper than any other place.
And I'm going to put it on the front page. Allie, make sure they put Eric's books on the front page, right?
I mean, this book and the Birthday ABC, I keep saying this, and I think people don't believe me. If you have a copy of this book in your hand, you're going to say, this is gorgeous. I didn't realize, because most children's books are, they're kind of crummy, or they're kind of, B-. These are gorgeous, beautifully produced. They're sumptuously produced. They're like luxury, beautiful books. And I did this deliberately. I said, if you go to mystore.com and put in the code Eric, the price is extremely low.
Yep.
So I just want to say that, obviously, MyPillow.com. It's Christmas time, folks. And if you want to buy great gifts made in America, when you're helping the American hero known as Mike Lindell, and you're helping this program, use the code Eric. there's something joyful in that, keeping the money sort of inside the family, so to speak, instead of going to other place. When you can support MyPillow, mystore.com, please do that. I just wanted to say that to my audience because we do need your help. We're relaunching this podcast. This is all new, and there are a lot of folks that have kind of dropped off. They're wondering where we are. We're right here, so we do need your help.
Yeah, and thanks, Eric. And that helps my employee-owned company, MyPillow. And you guys, we have over 250 products. We're not just pillows anymore. Do all your Christmas shopping. But that's when you asked me about governor, and I know you are. I want to tell you one thing. The reason I waited, everybody, MyPillow is the most attacked company in history of any company by our own government. Excuse me,
Mike. People think you're being hyperbolic. Mike is not being hyperbolic, folks. This is true. Think about what he just said. Think about what he said, because he is public enemy number one for the people who are stealing our elections, whatever. They have gone after Mike Lindell, which is why I ask you to help him by going to mypillow.com, mystore.com, please. In other words, if you want to know what can I do to help, Mike, you've been fighting for us, and I'm aware of this. Mm-hmm. And that's why I just think people need to know that if you care about America, you are one of the chief people fighting for election integrity and for so much else. We're not making this up. This is not hyperbole, folks. I just want you to understand that we don't blow smoke on this program. This is true. So when you just said that MyPillow has been the most attacked, you don't mean this metaphorically. You mean literally the most attacked, genuinely.
We were de-merchant server, American Express, PayPal. The government even went to our vendors. It's called Operation Arctic Frost. They went to MyPillow's vendors in 22 and 23 and went to my vendors, even my overseas one, went to their banks and said, if you do business with MyPillow, you're getting cut off. So we were cut off, not only our own banks, but cut off. Our merchants were cut off. My vendors were cut off. My towel companies, my sheet companies. I mean, this affected all of us. They did it, Eric, to the tune of over $200 million. My employee-owned company we can actually show that. And this is why I said, people said to me, I just announced I was running for governor a couple days ago, 3 days ago now, and they said, why did you get in the race so late? I said, well, my wife and I, we prayed since August. And I said, God, I need MyPillow to be stable, that I could, because I got, when I go into something, I go 100% all in. And I could not lead them as they keep getting blown full of holes every day, attack every day, MyPillow attack. But we've made it through by the grace of God and the support around the country of people buying our great product. And so finally, it was like a week ago before Thanksgiving, I feel that I can actually say MyPillow is stable. We'll say stable, but they're just for them to get through the last 4.5 years.
Well, look, I know that what you have survived, what you have fought, most people just don't know. The mainstream media, Fox News, is not covering this stuff, folks.
No.
And I want to say again, I don't want to embarrass you. You're an American hero. You've been fighting for all of us. Like President Trump, you've been fighting for all of us. We're all the beneficiaries of your maniacal energy, of your bulldog determination. We are all the beneficiaries of that. And so I want my audience to support you. Folks, go to MyPillow.com, mystore.com, use the code Eric. And I want to say, Mike, to me, what a dream it would be. We talk about a golden age of America. What a dream it would be. We can't even really believe. What would it be like if somebody like you were the governor of Minnesota? What a world we would live in. I mean, so many of us have been so thrilled about, Ron DeSantis, like Florida's doing so great. Imagine if you had more than one governor in America, if you had 20 governors in America who were just absolutely fire-breathing, liberty-loving, God-loving, America-loving patriots who care about America. What would the world look like? What would this country look like? So, Mike, just the thought of you running, I just get happy at the very idea of it. It's just like a dream.
Yeah, it's a lot. It would bring back a lot of common sense, everybody. And, I watch the president and I work with him so much where I see, running it like a business like he has is a whole difference. People say, well, Mike, what does Mike Lindell know about being a politician? You know what? I've met more politicians and been more immersed in politics the last 5 years than probably anyone on the planet. I've met hundreds and hundreds and been immersed in this. I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a great leader. And I will be the most transparent governor and leader you've ever seen. I mean, and one of the things, like I said earlier, when I manage my businesses, like even Lindell TV, starting that from scratch, everything I've done from scratch, not only building it, but able to withstand blows and fix things and secure things. I micro and macro manage. That's what a governor needs to do. You need to, you micro manage and macro manage. You look at every piece. You don't leave education behind or the inner city over here or this over here and just say, oh, I'm just going to, I'm the governor. No, you look at these things, and when you see deviations, you better find out what happened. You need a different input to get a different output. And Eric, I'll tell you, I'll do a little campaign now. Anything you could bring up that cinema could bring up in Minnesota here, let's and say, hey, what would you do for this problem? I not only do I have the answer, but I have the blueprints, and it's already almost been down. I'll give you an example. The homeless and in the streets, most of them either with addiction or, let's say, mental illness. Remember, in the early 1970s, they released 3 million people into the streets when they shut down the mental facilities around the country because of Geraldo and the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Well, that number now is extreme because you took these out of the mix. Well, when I was working with Ben Carson, when he was in HUD with the president, they were taking us a new program, and they were going to start it in LA. Even the Democrats there, the mayor and the governor agreed this was going to be an amazing program where you take everyone off the streets and you put them in these federal facilities things, and you basically sort them for their needs. Hey, we're going to put the ones that need help here mentally over here, with addiction here. And I think I know a little bit about addiction, where the success is. You start helping out the private sector, the Teen Challenges, the Salvation Army, platforms that work. And maybe you subsidize them, but you don't, when you do it, you don't say, take God out of it like they did in Minnesota here, tried to do it. But what I'm saying, Eric, is this program was shut down right before because of the China virus. I have all the blueprints for that. The blueprints are still there. These are plug-in systems that can be put in. And then here's another one. You have all the box stores and I went down to Minneapolis a couple weeks ago, and by the way, went into an Apple store. But the rest of these, we have the first mall in America, in Southdale Mall. But I went in there, and one of the things, I used to have a store in this mall, and it's so sad because it's not, years ago it was so busy, but you're competing with the internet now, plus nobody going downtown, people working from home, everybody ordering off Amazon. I have a complete system to bring back the people to fill those spaces again. You've got to level the field with buying on the internet.
Mike, this happens every time. I want to talk to you more and more and more. We have to leave it there. I want to have you back soon because we're just touching. We're just touching on stuff. So I want to have you back as soon as possible. My producer knows that, whether in a week or 2 weeks. I want to get you on here to continue this conversation. Meanwhile, folks, please go to MyPillow.com. Use the code Eric. Go to mystore.com. Use the code Eric. You're helping this program. Again, we're just getting relaunched with this new podcast, and you're helping an American hero, Mike Lindell. He deserves our help. So, Mike Lindell, we love you, and we'll talk to you very soon. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. God bless, Eric. Thank you.
This Christmas, as we celebrate the Super Centennial coming up, Super Centennial 250th, there's no way better way to support it than by supporting my friend, an American hero, Mike Lindell. He's one of the main sponsors on this program. He's the man behind MyPillow. He put his money where his mouth is. Some of you know this if you've watched the program. He stood up for the country. He was unfairly canceled by the big box stores. So I want us to stand with him. So please go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Eric to save big on pillows, sheets, slippers, everything you need for Christmas comfort. You'll sleep great, save big, celebrate freedom with MyPillow. MyPillow.com. Use the code Eric. During the horrors of the Holocaust, Corrie ten Boom and her Dutch family, as told in her classic book, The Hiding Place, risked everything to shelter Jewish neighbors in their home.
They were betrayed and sent to concentration camps, yet Corey survived and went on to preach forgiveness and hope around the world. That same redemptive spirit lives on in 10 Boom Coffee. Working with Agro Cafe, an Israeli ag tech company, 10 Boom Coffee helps farmers around the world increase their harvests by 60%, improving both the quality of their beans and the quality of their lives. So every cup you pour becomes part of a legacy, one that stands for courage, kindness, and redemption. Visit 10boomcoffee.com. That's 10boomcoffee.com. Taste the goodness that changes lives. Use the code ERIC and save 10%. 10boomcoffee.com. Use the code ERIC.